Hey everybody, Barry Johns here, and welcome back to another edition of Studio Talk. Got up at 6:30 a.m. on this fine Sunday morning. I'm all alone in the house. The family's out of town. Went and got breakfast, got some biscuits and gravy, some bacon crispy, and a pancake. My own little mini buffet. So I'm ready to start talking about plugins. I don't know about you. Okay, so I've put out a few videos so far, really kind of analyzing plugin subscriptions and where they make sense and where they don't make sense. Ultimately, that's for you to decide. That's not for me to decide. This one's going to be a quick video, I hope. And so today I'm going to talk about Waves plugins. Although they don't do a subscription, you can get these plugins really, really, really cheap. They're always on sale. Now, people love to hate Waves plugins. I'm sorry, but Waves makes decent plugins. Are they better at certain plugins? Yeah, but do they make some really great plugins? They do. At the end of the day, the majority of every song you listen to has Waves plugins all over it. Whether it was recorded 6 months ago or 10 years ago, they've got Waves plugins all over them. So a lot of the guys, the top mixing engineers, don't get into all this bashing and trashing of tools. They use what they use and they use what they like. So ultimately, I'm not here to bash Waves plugins as far as quality is concerned. So Waves plugins are still heavily used in the live market. So when you go see your favorite band or whatever perform wherever you go see them, at least in major arenas, odds are the vast majority of that is done with Waves plugins using their SoundGrid system. And so they're still heavily utilized, and so still very popular in that domain. So let's get that out of the way. Now, where the Waves hate started was back when they came out with something called WUP, W-U-P. I think it's for Waves Update Plan or Program. I don't know. And that was the beginning of my disdain for Waves as a company. You know, their strategy right now is you can buy their plugins dirt cheap. They are always freaking on sale, always. You know, you can always get them. Now, so they've got some of their plugins that they don't put on sale frequently, and that's because they're better plugins. But anyway, where they get you at the end of the day is if you want to keep being able to use those plugins, and mainly the most significant driver these days behind needing to update your Waves plugins are simply as new operating systems come out. And so, for example, I have some Waves plugins that I went years without updating, okay, or paying the Waves update plan. And recently, I had to pay that. I regret doing so now since I found Plugin Alliance and I really like their plugins, but I regret doing that now. But at the end of the day, I paid it. And that's where the extortion begins. You know, ultimately I had to because I'm transitioning into the new M1 Silicon architecture for Apple. And of course, Big Sur's the most recent operating system. And so for me to be able to utilize those on that new system, I had no choice but to update. So, but I did go a long time without updating. And even though some of those plugins have been updated since then, I think for the most part, many of them are cosmetic, like the SSL channel strip and 1176 emulation. So I think some of those, I don't know if there's anything under the hood updated with those, because I didn't hear anything, and it definitely wasn't noticeable to me. But yeah, so keep that in mind when you see those Wave plugins and they seem dirt cheap. You need to look into what's going to be the cost a year later. You know, because basically you get it for a year, I believe. But after that year, you've got to update if you want to keep them current. And their extortion, and I'm going to call it extortion, you know, there was a time they could get away with that because Waves dominated plugins for a very long time. But that's been a very long time ago. Since then, there's been amazing plugin manufacturers come out with compelling reasons not to go with Waves and to go with them. You know, and where Waves tries to stay current is they try to use the relationship, you know, with some well-known mixing engineers out there like Chris Lord-Alge and things like that. But I'm always suspicious when his name goes on a plugin. You know, God bless him if he can make a few extra dollars by putting his name out there to help sell a product. I would never do that because I find most of the plugins with his name on them aren't that good. But that's just me. Okay. You may get different mileage out of them and you may enjoy them. So anyway, when you're looking at plugins, think long and hard whether Waves make sense for you. Yes, some of the benefits obviously is you can get into them very cheaply. They're very inexpensive to get into them. And then ultimately, can you go a long time without having to pay the Waves update plan? You can, but the minute you do, you're going to be back paying for it, you know, because every year you go without updating, it's going to get more and more expensive and you're paying an outrageous fee at that point. So I urge caution. I would even say don't do Waves plugins. I would say just stay away from them. That's my 2 cents. Even if they made the greatest plugins on earth, I'd still have issue with the way they go about their business model. I think they trap people. They get you sucked in at that entry-level cost, but it's all the add-on stuff, i.e. the having to pay whoop every year. It sounds silly saying whoop, but you know what I mean. But you got to pay that. So think long and hard about that. So again, I said this was going to be a short video, and at the end of the day, do I recommend Waves plugins? No, I don't. Now, if you're a live mixer and you incorporate that into your live sound, now I'm not talking about your local band or anything like that. There's plenty of digital mixing boards out there that have decent plugins built into them that can get you by just fine for that. I'm talking about if you're mixing, large arenas, large stadiums, things like that, houses of worship, things like that. There's an opportunity for them there to be able to use those in a live situation. So for that reason, they're probably a little bit more compelling and maybe worth it. But for the average DAW user with a home studio, I just say stay away from them. And it has nothing to do with the quality of their plugins one way or the other. Again, I don't subscribe to this notion that their plugins are awful. I don't believe that for 1 second. I've been using Waves plugins for a long time, and I happen to like a lot of the ones I use. But that being said, I paid that just maybe a few months ago, and I will never make that mistake again, ever. I will never make that mistake again. I'm at a point right now where I'm just going to stop using them completely. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Waves plugins and everything else like that. Now, if you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. Leave some comments down below. Just, keep it cool, keep it respectful. We don't have to get in an argument about this stuff. Everybody's got their own preferences, their own likes. I would ask the same if you're a Waves hater. Don't be belligerent about it. Just state your opinion, what your personal experience is. My experience in a lot of forums and everything is the vast majority of the people that do the bashing of Waves have never actually even used them. And so you got to take that with a grain of salt too out there. It doesn't apply to everybody, but there's a lot of people like that. Most people who are happy with something don't particularly go on forums and talk about them. They just use them. So kind of keep that in mind. So anyway, if you like the topics we talk about here on this channel, I really appreciate it. Hit that like button, that subscribe that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification bell so you'll know when I've got a new video out. Hope you like it. Hope you enjoy it. Again, I tried to make this one quick. Hopefully that makes you happy too, because a lot of my videos tend to be quite long and they don't start out that way, but I can't stop talking just like I'm doing right now. So you know what you got to do at the end of the day? I want you guys to have a great day.